Security Secretary John Kelly set to deliver his first major policy address on the threats facing the U.S., including terrorism and the rise of cyber attacks. It all comes ahead of a planned visit to our southern border this week. President Trump, meantime, praising Kelly's efforts so far to crack down on criminal illegal immigrants.
We've gotten tremendous criminals out of this country, and I'm talking about illegal immigrants that were here, that caused tremendous crime, that have murdered people, raped people, horrible things have happened. They're getting the hell out or they're going to prison. And so many towns and cities are thanking me because we have gotten rid of a burden that you would not believe.
Rachel Campos-Duffy is a Fox News contributor, and Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor. Good to see you both.
Good morning.
Thank you. All right, Leslie, the president says cities and towns are thanking him.
Well, I don't always believe what the president says, with all due respect, Shannon. Living here with the largest undocumented population, living here with the largest legal immigrant population in the state of California, I don't see people thanking him in our state, quite frankly. We have to look at the reality, and the numbers just aren't there. The overwhelming majority of crime that is committed is by American-born, bred and raised people, terrorism attacks, mass shootings, none of which came over the southern border. And President Obama was called deporter-in-chief because he deported so many illegal immigrants, the criminal faction, and that's something both sides agree on.
That the way the deportations were defined essentially changed. I mean, the vast majority of his deportations were people that were caught within 100 miles of the border and turned around. You know, that was a statistic that earlier wasn't counted. It wasn't like he was going through communities and rounding up people who were here illegally and telling them to go home. In fact, just the opposite was true. But Rachel, we shouldn't be surprised that California is definitely not on the President Trump bandwagon. Not on this issue or anything else.
No, and I happen to be from the state of Arizona originally, and there are plenty of people that I know on the border, Mexican Americans, many of them, who are very happy that Donald Trump has taken this step in deporting the bad hombres, the criminal felons, and getting them out of our country. Here's what I think is so interesting. We see border crossings are down, 70% in the last month. He's making good on his promise to secure the border, to get rid of the criminal felons. Those are the first steps that the American people wanted before they deal with immigration reform and what we do with the 11 million plus people that are here that aren't committing crimes other than that they cross the border. Many of them have children who are born in the United States, and Americans want to deal compassionately with them, but not until the border is secured and not until the criminal felons are kicked out of the country. So ironically, we're going to have Donald Trump, not the Democrats who talk a big game but don't do anything. Donald Trump is poised to be the one to deliver on immigration reform. And what's so interesting about that, Shannon, is not just that Republicans will get the credit for that, but when you take immigration off the table, Hispanics look a lot like Republicans. They're for lower taxes, lower regulations. They're for religious liberty, and they're pro-life and very pro-family. That's what strikes the fear in the hearts of people like Leslie and Democrats.
Obviously, when President Obama was first elected, for 2 years, Democrats held the House and Senate as well. This wasn't a priority or didn't get done then. What do you make of Rachel's prediction that it's possible under President Trump that there could be some bipartisan support to come together on these issues?
Well, there was bipartisan support during the Obama administration as well. The problem is they just wouldn't put forth a vote, and we've seen that with both Democrats and Republicans, and both left and right haven't had the votes because they believe in reform, but not the way to reform. For example, the polls show overwhelmingly that Americans don't want a wall, they don't want to break up families, they don't want mass deportation. Both Democrats and Republicans agree that we want violent criminals deported, but people with DUI who have children here, that is not something which, by the way, ICE is doing under this president, that Americans want. And they also want,
did you say DUI?
They're concerned with the economic element.
Did you say
yes.
DUI?
Yes.
People are killed and injured in those. I would assume that is something that we would agree would be a criminal infraction. Would you both say that is something that should get somebody deported if they're here illegally?
Absolutely, it should
I really would have to look at the circumstance there, Shannon.
Okay. Well, very good then. We will leave it there on that bit of disagreement. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Good to see you.